Hey there, Amplifiers. Glad to have you tuning in today. And this is going to be an amazing, powerful session. So, if you sometimes just kind of tune in for a little bit and then skip around, I suggest this is not an episode that you'd want to skip. This can transform your life in more ways than one. I've got a rock star professional who has really climbed the mountain. He's leading one of the top companies worldwide for mental fitness, and he's a marketing maven as well. He's an all-around great guy, and I'm glad to have him on this session today. We're going to be talking about how to productize mental fitness, and he's the chief coach officer of Positive Intelligence. Now, you've probably seen on my channel, you've heard me talk about positive intelligence a few times already, but we're going to be talking about how to productize mental fitness. And you can use the same strategies and systems that we're going to be sharing today for your business, your expertise. Obviously, we adjust it a little bit, but it's going to be very powerful. I'm excited to have him guest on us. And if you haven't done so already, make sure that you subscribe and tune in, like, and share from this post. We're going to be providing the best tips, tools, and strategies for growing your business by elevating the value and experience you provide. So we appreciate any likes, shares, or comments, and we'll be getting back to those as we can. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome my guest to Growth Amplifiers. He is a TEDx speaker. He's an awesome, amazing speaker and storyteller. He's a best-selling author and writing real good books that get ideas into action. The chief coaching officer for Positive Intelligence, and as mentioned, a marketing maven. Welcome to Growth Amplifiers, Bill Carmody.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
So for those people who are just tuning in, maybe they've heard me talk about positive intelligence, but they really haven't heard me talk a lot about Bill. Although I'm a Bill fan, I haven't really talked a lot about the awesome things that you're doing. If you can kind of give us a little backstory and tell us a little bit about what brought you here to the work that you're doing today, that would be amazing.
And so specifically with Positive Intelligence, Positive Intelligence is one of the premier mental fitness companies in the world. Mental fitness, for those of you who don't know, is your capacity to respond to life's challenges with a positive rather than a negative mindset. It impacts your peak performance, your peace of mind and well-being, as well as your healthy relationships. So I share that with you just for context, because Positive Intelligence really is a foundation of how we strengthen the muscles in our mind to become very resilient to whatever else is happening around us and really lean into the best version of ourselves, which is our sage. So that's just a little quick background there. And my role and responsibility at Positive Intelligence is to oversee the thousands of coach members that have signed up to really take advantage of our mental fitness training and deliver it to their clients.
So I think that's number one, amazing. It's been transformative for me. When I first heard about positive intelligence, I was thinking, hey, you know what? I've realized you can give people the strategies and the systems, but if they don't have the right mindset, they're going to run into a wall.
Yeah.
And I wanted to learn some new skills to help people over that wall. And so I signed up thinking, hey, this is going to be a great way that I can give tools to other people. And what I realized is, wow, I'm carrying on to a lot of stuff that I didn't realize was even there.
Yeah.
A lot of weight that was holding me back and just didn't realize. And when you see it in yourself, you can see it in others.
Yeah.
And I've got to connect with so many different coaches from around the world, all different backgrounds, some that have really studied, mental health, mental fitness, some that are more, doing life coaching and other business coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And they've all benefited from going through this program. They've all grew and learned from this program of how they could shift their mind to be more efficient, effective, and it's made them such better leaders. So, what has been your experience? You've had the awesome experience of guiding so many people through this program, and you hear so many testimonials and case studies from people sharing in the community. What has been your experience as you've heard people share the transformation that they've had by going through this program?
Well, yeah, as you said, it starts with you, right? It starts with I experienced it for myself before I decided to really try to help others use this. It's sort of the old adage of the airline industry: put your own oxygen mask on first before trying to help anyone else. I think my own mental fitness has been just profound, being able to understand how to really approach any problem as a gift or opportunity, and really keep that mindset, so that my circumstances are not the things that are driving me, but instead I am designing my life. And so for me, really where this started was understanding like why I wanted to become a coach. So I built and exited two multi-million-dollar marketing agencies. And at the same time, what I realized after my second one was that I really didn't have a lot of love for the brands. I had more love for the people behind the brands. And so I didn't really care so much how much money I could help make a bank or a hardware company. What I cared about specifically were the individuals that would support the growth that I wanted to see for myself and for the people on their team. And so when I left the marketing industry, I decided at that time to become more focused on people and helping people. That's when I became a coach. That was when I started working as an executive coach. I really loved that work. And I reached out to Shirzad Shamin, who's the author of Positive Intelligence, because he was the first example of a coach that I'd ever had. And what I mean by that is my first marketing agency, we were about $25 million of annual revenue, and we were literally at each other's throats. We wanted to kill each other. And it was one of those things where it's just like we all had different visions of what the company should be. And we had gotten to that critical tipping point. And because we were sort of not really aligned, my business partner was smart enough to reach out to his YPO chapter, and he had reached Shirzad, who came in and helped us really align. So we went from really wanting to kill each other to crying and hugging it out, right? So from that perspective, it was just like a real transformational moment. And to see that happen in one day was phenomenal. And I was like, okay, there's something special here about coaching. And what I didn't realize at the time was that the work that we were doing was actually foundational to mental fitness, but I didn't know it because I wasn't really focused on mental fitness. I was focusing on the challenges that my business partners and I had. And so essentially, when I became a coach, I reached back out to Shirzad to say, hey, this is really amazing. I just want you to know that you inspired me to become a coach myself. I really saw what you did, the magic that you created, and I wanted to replicate that. And that's when he said, that's awesome. What I wonder if you'd like to try out what I'm working on now. And that's when he offered me to be part of his mental fitness training program. And I thought, sure, absolutely. And that's when I really connected with mental fitness, because after about 6 weeks worth of the intense work that goes into the initial installation of the operating system, I was hooked. I knew that this was a new way of life for me. And I also immediately started using it with my clients. So from there, I went back to Shirzad and I said, listen, this is, I feel like Napster. Like, you've given me this great tool and I'm using it everywhere, but you're not getting any compensation from me. Like, this is crazy. So many coaches could really use this work. Why don't we bring this to the coaching industry? And he says, I'm so glad that you feel that way. Why don't you come help me build it? I'm like, no. You misunderstand. I love my life. I'm a coach. I'm a trainer. I take 2 months off a year. I love what I do. There's no interest. I have no interest in coming and join another company. This is just, I'm trying to help you and support you in figuring this thing out. And he said, okay, well, why don't you come on as a consultant and help me out a little bit, and we'll see, we'll go from there. And after a couple months, we both were completely aligned, but he said to me, okay, well, what's your mission in life? What's your purpose? And I said, well, now that I'm a coach, I want to help as many people as possible really reach their potential. And it's really important to me. And especially, I started working with coaches. I realized that coaches struggle because they're not really awesome entrepreneurs. They're great coaches, but they don't know how to run a business. I really think I can have a niche here, helping coaches make money and be financially successful. He goes, great. Over the course of your lifetime, how many of those coaches do you think you can help? And I said, I don't know, a couple hundred. He goes, great. And with my platform, how many could you help? And it was tens of thousands. And I was like,
Right.
oh, okay, you got me. Positive intelligence. And that's why I'm here today.
So it was like a nice chocolate and peanut butter moment, and it came together and made magic.
Exactly.
And you know, for those who haven't quite heard as much about mental fitness, um, it's a thing that everyone needs. I read a book by Brian Tracy
Mhm.
a couple years back, and he was talking about the key to success as an entrepreneur is strong mental fitness.
Yes.
When I first read the book, I was like, okay, Brian, thank you. Good, check. What I didn't realize is that you can't know mental fitness. You've got to strengthen and practice it. And that's
Yes.
where this program really made the difference. So since I've joined, it's been, I guess, 8 months now. I've been doing it daily and I've been seeing it how it's transforming my life. So um, if you're tuned in and you're like, I don't know if I need mental fitness, everyone needs mental fitness. Your family needs mental fitness.
Yeah.
Your clients need mental fitness. It is a universal part of being a human. Just like your body needs it, you need it as well. So,
And that's exactly it. I mean, most people when they hear mental fitness, it's like 20% insight and 80% muscle development. So conceptually, people are like, yeah, I get it. I understand I need to be resilient or I need to have emotional intelligence. Like I understand what you mean by mental fitness. And they get it conceptually, but if you're not living the work, you don't really know it. And so that's the distinction. It's like I can tell you about what it means to go to the gym and lift weights, and intellectually you're like, I get it. So I lift this heavy weight and it sort of rips out my muscles, and then the muscles become stronger, and then I become ripped, and I have the kind of health I want to see in my life. Absolutely, you intellectually get it. Now, how often are you going to the gym?
that
Right.
that's it's key. And I see like I first read a book on mind power maybe in my early 20s. I'm going to be 43 next week.
Mhm.
And I realized after going through this program, like, oh man, that was me. I was basically learning about how to work out and saying, I know how to work out now. I would learn these different things, but I wouldn't be putting them in practicing them and strengthening them on a regular basis. I didn't have that regimen. Now I do. And so if you're tuning in, think of what is possible for you if you really had better resilience. So when you got pummeled by the life of being an entrepreneur or just by living your life, you were able to recover that much quicker.
Yeah.
You were able to stand up and be that much stronger. Imagine having that power and being able to share it with those you serve so that you're not only helping them with maybe providing a service, but you're helping them become stronger as well. It's truly transformational. Speaking of transformational, you kind of were giving us a little bit of a story there, but um, so how did Positive Intelligence become the top rated mental fitness company in the world?
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
cool, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And it did start in 2012 with Shirzad's book, Positive Intelligence. So it started there with a New York Times best-selling book by the same name. And the idea of that book was here are the principles of mental fitness. But just like we were talking about going to the gym, Shirzad was very clear about the fact that, hey, this is all fine intellectually, but until you put it into practice, it's not going to be all that meaningful to you. So we can talk about cognitive behavior psychology. We can talk about neuroplasticity and sort of how you change your brain, all these things. And intellectually, you can understand the neuroscience behind mental fitness. But the act of actually doing PQ reps, the ability to actually work on your own mental fitness, exactly. You take two fingers and you rub them with such fine attention to detail that you can feel the fingertip ridges. You do things like this for just 2 minutes and it changes everything. You're like, oh, come on. But seriously, I'm in the middle of a conflict with somebody where I'm realizing, oh my God, I'm starting to feel my own amygdala hijack me. I'm starting to lose myself into this argument. I can go do these simple PQ reps, all these little tiny 2-minute exercises while I'm in the conversation. And suddenly I'm back. And I'm back to the best version of myself. And so that's really where Positive Intelligence, the company, really evolved, was going from the concepts of the book to implementing a very simple mobile app. So basically, I have this daily practice every single day. I pick up my phone and I just do my PQ reps in the morning, and they can keep reminding me throughout the day to continue to do the work. So it's basically like, imagine if you integrate your workout routines from the gym in your house. And so, every 30 minutes or so, you do some simple exercise and then you sort of strengthen your muscles. Well, every 3 hours, we interrupt you to really continue to make sure you're mentally fit. What that means is, if you are experiencing your saboteurs or your negative mindset, shift back to your positive one. And when you continuously do that over and over every single day, you create small habits that make a massive shift, both for you personally and all of the people that you work with. your employees will be the first one to thank you for taking yourself on in mental fitness, because they're the benefactors in the relationships you're going to cultivate when you start to use these techniques in your business.
I am sold on it for myself, and I was wondering as I was, I've been more of like your background with a marketing coach and helping people with their marketing, and not so much in the mental fitness side. So I was introducing this to some clients over the past several months, and I was wondering how are they going to, receive this information? How is it going to benefit them? There was a company that I worked with, and he was in a manufacturing, and he's getting into over a million and just over like up to 2 million. He's getting overwhelmed with all the different responsibilities, all the overhead, all the moving pieces and parts. And he was so stressed out, and you could hear it in his voice. He was working the weekends, he was working the nights, and he was just clamming up and bottling up, and it was holding him back. And we enrolled him in the program. He started using the app. And within that first month, I kid you not, after he started going through the program, he had a different energy about him.
Yes.
He came to the meetings, and I felt less stressed out because he was less stressed out.
Yeah.
And he said he was able to get his time back. He's spending time with his family again and just getting the perspective. He was so close, and he was able to step back and really put things in perspective and calm that down, giving him the focus and clarity to take actions in his business that he just wasn't being able to move prior. So I've seen it in action for really busy professionals that think, oh, I don't have time to learn a new program or do this sort of thing. I've seen that even really busy people are probably the ones that need it the most.
Yeah. One of my very first coaches, Chad Cooper, used to say it this way. He said, "Time is not the problem, you are." It was very provocative, but he actually wrote a book by the same title, Time is Not the Problem, You Are. And what was fascinating about that was we talked about the rule of 168, which is the fact that there's 168 hours in every week, and that the most successful people you know have the same 168 hours that you have. And so this time is the great equalizer. And so for people who are like, oh, I don't have time and whatnot, that's exactly right. Like actually figuring out how you can stay mentally fit throughout your day is one of the most critical things you can do, because what it will do is keep you focused on what's important. Focus on the 20% of the effort that will get you 80% of the result. Most of us spend our time running around trying to get through our to-do lists, and it drives us crazy because there's always more on the to-do list. You're going to die with your inbox full, right? This is never something you're finished. So the key is, can I stay mentally fit and resilient throughout my day by really focusing on what matters? So the reason that a client like that will come in and be totally different is they start to shift and focus on what matters, and they realize most of the stuff they're doing doesn't matter. And when you start to realize that you're on this treadmill and you're just running as fast as you can, you can't get off, you stop running. You're like, I'm just going to step off the treadmill. And you're like, whoa, I could have done that forever. And you suddenly realize like you have so much more control than you think. And once you become mentally fit, you can see the real problems and not be enrolled by the simple, small things that most people are sweating, the small stuff. It's just not necessary, you know?
You know, it's funny because as somebody who is guiding others, I could see it in them, but I wasn't able to see it myself.
Yes.
Going through the program, I gained the awareness of the saboteurs, or
Mhm.
basically the habits that I've developed that were kind of sabotaging my own best interests.
Yeah.
I had kind of developed like a hyperachiever, restless saboteur, and continually convincing myself, "Oh, this little thing would be helpful. Let's add another one." And to the point where you're spreading yourself too thin, you really can't execute on them. And by going through this program, by working through getting that operating system and strengthening the awareness, now those tendencies still try to tap me and say, "Hey, do this. It'll be good." But I can now be in the moment and really say, "That's a good idea. But right now, I'm busy working on something else. Let's
Mhm.
come back to this at a different time." And so many people, as you're tuning in, think about this for yourself. How many things are you trying to move at the same time? Do you feel overwhelmed? Are you stressed out? Because if you are, you might need to step back and make sure that you're not self sabotaging. Or perhaps if you're not doing enough things, are you procrastinating, right?
Right.
There's so many different things that we're all different. So really helpful. information. And I'm curious now as we get to kind of the third wheel of this conversation. You've done a great job taking what was a book and a concept and an operating system and productizing it in such a way that now you've amplified your impact.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier you could maybe help maybe a few hundred coaches, but now you're helping tens of thousands.
Yes.
And so, what are some actions that others can consider implementing that can help them amplify? And
Atomic habits, and that led me to tiny habits. And what's really great about this is that it's what's the 1% shift you can make. So back in my days working with Tony Robbins, it was what's the 3 millimeter shift. You know, he was golf instructor would tell him, if you change your golf grip by 3 millimeters, taken out over the long run, that will be the difference between hitting it right down the fairway or going, too far in either the direction and going off course. And I think that's the question for that you're asking is that, in order to create a tiny habit, it's how do I make something 1% better and do that consistently? If I continue to improve by 1% over time, I will have completely revolutionized myself and the work that I do. So in the context of mental fitness and positive intelligence, what that was doing these PQ reps, these 2-minute exercises that we have people do every single day, 3 times a day. That's very simple, but every 3 hours, you're doing a 2-minute, PQ rep. And what that does is it resets you so that whatever else is going on in your life, you're coming back to your own mental fitness. So what I would say is, what's that equivalent for any business? So if you're a business owner and you're thinking about what's a 1% shift that I can make, thinking about one simple habit that they can create every single day that will change everything. And that's part of the concept of when you are mentally fit, you are aware of what are those things that make the big difference. I start to put things in the 20% bucket as opposed to the 80% bucket. What I mean by that is that I can take my list and no longer am I trying to do everything and everything's the same. I say, okay, here's all the things that I want to accomplish. These things are the 20% of my effort that will drive 80% of my result. And these other things are the 80% of the effort that will drive my last 20%. So with that being understood, I can now make one small shift, which basically says before I take action on anything on my list, I'm now identifying, is it part of the 20% or the 80%? That's a simple question I can ask myself. But what it does is it helps me categorize what's really, truly important and what's just busyness. If I can let go of the busyness or delegate it and say, I don't need to work on the 80%, someone else can do that, then I can free to focus on the 20% that really matters in my business.
And what I'll share, and I probably share this a lot on my podcast. So if you're hearing this again, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we can hear something and it seems so simple and so easy. And we're like, oh, I know it, right? But it's putting it into practice. Like we've talked about earlier, we've got to practice it. And when you do these reps throughout the day, it helps you to remember, wait a minute, let me get checked in. Let me make sure I'm doing the right things.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that whirlwind of the day-to-day will suck you right back into the vortex. You're starting to just chop down away at the to-do list. You're getting distracted by all these different things. You're being reactionary. And this helps you gain control, helps you be proactive, and really be the change in the matter that you want to see in your life and in your world.
Yeah, exactly. Well said.
Thank you. So for those who are tuning in, we got a couple things to promote. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're thinking, you know what, that sounds like I probably need to look into this. I invite you to look into this. Go to positiveintelligence.com, learn more about the saboteurs. There's a saboteur assessment on there. There's a PQ assessment to really see where you're at in regards to your mental fitness at the moment. You can learn more about the program, and they have an awesome app we've been talking about. So you go to positiveintelligence.com. And Bill, if you would like to share for anyone who's a coach or might want to share this work with those they serve, where could they go and what could they do?
Absolutely. So for coaches, we have a multi-million-dollar coaching grant program, which you can go to exclusively at positiveintelligence.com/100x, 100x. And what that does is it allows you to take this entire deep dive of the program we've been talking about today at no cost whatsoever. And what that'll do is give you the tools to begin your own mental fitness and then decide if you want to continue to bring this to your clients. And what I share, that the assessments you mentioned on the website, website, those are all free. These are 5-minute assessments you can take to identify your top saboteurs and even see where you are in sort of your own mental fitness today, right now, before you do any additional work. And that self-assessment will help you get a good sense and a snapshot of where you are and where you might want to be in your life.
So, as mentioned, I went through the program myself. I found it personally beneficial, so much so that I signed up to become a positive intelligence coach, and I'm working through becoming certified.
Yeah,
I've enrolled my parents in it, I enrolled my wife in it. I'm sharing the concepts with my children. I'm sharing it with my clients, and I'm continuing to work on spreading it further and further.
nice work.
I do that because I really see that this is a pillar of life. It is something that we really should have as part of the foundations of being a human being. Unfortunately, we're not taught these things. And a lot of us struggle dealing with the challenges of life because we haven't gained this knowledge, these tools, and strengthened these muscles. So now that you have the invitation, check it out at the very least. Spend some time. If you've heard similar things, if you said, "Oh, I've heard of, mindfulness, meditation or different similar concepts," this is different. This is an operating system. I've heard all of those things too. This was a different experience that's been transformative to me. So if it sounds like I'm being an advocate, that's because I am, and I really want to share that with you.
Great.
But being respectful of time, Bill, one of the traditions we have at Growth Amplifiers is if you could end by sharing something that you've learned on your journey. It doesn't have to be related to your topic. It could be
Sure.
anything you've learned on your journey that might be helpful for others on theirs.
Absolutely. So when I became a black belt and Subakdo Murakwan, there was a concept called Pyongyang, which is peaceful confidence. My instructor told me, "Congratulations on being a black belt. Now you can begin your training." I'm like, "Wait, I just spent 4 years building a black belt." He's like, "Yes, and now you have enough knowledge to start your work." And the idea of Pyongyang is peaceful confidence. It's the ability to sort of handle any situation that comes your way. And it was something that I learned in martial arts. But I would say for entrepreneurs, the Pyongyang concept is just so critical because when you lose one of your biggest clients or one of your top employees steals your intellectual property, or God forbid you have identity theft and get your bank account gets wiped out, all of these things can just throw you into a tailspin. And as an entrepreneur, it's your job to remain calm no matter what is happening around you. So this concept of Pyongyang, or peaceful confidence, is the thing that I think has really supported me over the first 25 years of my career, helping and building these multi-million dollar marketing agencies, because all of this craziness is going to happen all around you. How can you maintain peaceful confidence? When you can do that, you can run the show and you can make the best decisions in the moment, regardless of what's happening outside.
That is powerful. Bill, thank you so much for tuning in and sharing your wisdom and your knowledge and for doing the work that you do. You are totally a growth amplifier in the world, and I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Appreciate it.
And amplifiers, make sure that you share this and comment. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are and share this so that others can amplify their business. It's not just about us, it's about our families, our clients, and those we serve. So make that impact amplified, out there, and in action. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you on the next show.
Thanks.